I'm Devorah Wallen, and I'd like to share my Tea for Two, my Torah thought for 2 minutes, more or less. This parsha, Mikeitz, is again about dreams and dream interpretation, Yosef becoming viceroy, leading Egypt and feeding the world during a famine. He is the most powerful person in the most prominent nation at the time. Mikeitz is also about the very poignant reunion of Yosef with his brothers and their reconciliation. The concept that I would like to focus on in our portion is about how Yosef was able to stay strong despite the tests he faced in the most depraved land in the world. Meanwhile, back at home, his brothers, who were shepherds, had spiritual lives that were undeterred by worldly preoccupations. They lived a life of quiet reflection on God. In the pastoral life, they could serve God unencumbered and less involved in worldly pursuits. They could live righteously, do good deeds, never harm anyone, follow the dictates of the Torah, yet, at the same time, do it in a place without challenge or engagement with the outside world. In Chaim Miller's terminology of the Gutnick Chumash, he calls such a person a sequestered saint, whereas Yosef lived through the challenges of the world amidst the depravity of Egypt and was somehow able to have the fortitude to remain above it all. He, as the leader of the country, with everything available to him, was nonetheless able to remain virtuous despite the temptations. Rabbi Miller calls Yosef the terrestrial tzaddik. One of the most basic principles of the Torah is to use the world's gifts for good purposes. There's a concept that after 120 years, when one goes to make a reckoning in the world to come, the soul will be asked why, while in the world, it did not partake of everything Hashem provided. In Kabbalah and Hasidic philosophy, there's a basic principle of dira b'sachtonim, the directive to create a dwelling place in this world for Hashem to feel at home. In contrast to many other religions, the ultimate service of Judaism is through utilizing the world, not running away from it. In Yiddish, the expression about someone who is overly spiritual, chapen melachim, or grabbing at angels, is not a compliment. However, not everyone can straddle involvements in the world while maintaining a balanced spiritual life. Because of this, very few people in the Torah are called Hatzadik, the pious one. Yosef receives this special epithet since he epitomizes the ultimate terrestrial tzaddik. What gave him the strength to be involved in the world yet remain strong? Rashi, commenting on the Talmudic discussion from last week's parsha, teaches us that when Yosef was seduced by Potiphar's wife, he bolstered himself using a resourcing technique. He visualized the image of his father Yaakov in the window. The Torah recommends visualizing a holy person in various places for various purposes. This is actually currently used as a useful positive psychology technique. Using this idea, one would imagine a wise person as a spiritual guide and inspiration during challenging times. By developing a strong image in the mind's eye, one can be strengthened by this person in difficult times. Although most of us do not aspire to becoming a tzaddik of either sort, sequestered or terrestrial, we can learn from Yosef a tzaddik. May we all be able to work with the world, making it a dwelling place for Hashem, being mindful of the strengths that got us to where we are now.